what's good? It's Mastermind MMA, and I'm just shooting the shit, fucking streaming some games, playing some games online, UFC2, and just gonna talk about some shit. Something I figured out how to do, so I'm doing it now. It's fucking fun. It's like you just get to play some games and talk some shit, and well, the first thing I'm going to talk about is Chuck Liddell talking about Johnny Bones Jones and how he said he thinks John Jones was cheating the whole time. And I think that's kind of, because he actually pointed out that during the month he got suspended, or not the month, the year he got suspended, he was like, oh, he just grew so much, which he did. And then he was saying, I just think he actually, I was actually surprised what Chuck Liddell was saying because Chuck, him and John really had beef. Him and John didn't like each other. He said that John Jones wasn't an entertaining fighter, and that he was like, oh, if I was in my prime, I would beat John Jones, which is you never know because that's kind of pointless because that's something that can never happen. You know what I mean? It's like who would win, Fedor in his prime or fucking John in his prime, shit like that. Those hypotheticals. But as a fighter, as a former champion, he has every right to feel that way. And Chuck was getting hella knockouts, so can't blame the guy for thinking like his body of work is better. But obviously, John, as a competitor, felt like, you can't really talk about me like that. I would whip your ass. Oh shit. I slept him. And then and then yeah, so he was on the MMA hour and he was saying like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was cheating. I don't think he needed to cheat. I don't know why. I think he just fell into a wrong crowd and you know, I mean, I don't even know what to say like about the whole steroid shit. If he's cheating, if he wasn't, well, I guess at this point you can only assume guilt at this point. But then he's like, oh, he's his own worst enemy, and he was like, oh, it looks like there was a huge change in that short period. He hasn't come out and said anything. It's another tainted supplement, right? So I don't know. He gets his time in court. We'll see what happens with that too. That's what Chuck was saying. And then, but he did say I like John. I like John as a fighter. I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him, get a 4-year suspension. I do want to see him fight again. You know what I mean? So, I could respect that he actually appreciates him as a fighter. But, something I was wondering, if, if John isn't the GOAT because he removed himself from competition and, the discussion of being the greatest, then who is? You know what I mean? Because Anderson got popped for something, so we can't talk about Anderson. So is it GSP? And then I don't know. That's kind of crazy. And and is anyone taking anything away from people that were on TRT during this TRT exemption time? It kind of seems like Vitor is the poster child for it. Maybe because he turned into a 5'10" Incredible Hulk. You know what I mean? But I feel like no one says anything about Hendo, and Hendo is on TRT. But maybe because Hendo kind of didn't change, his power didn't change as much during fucking when he was all on TRT and off TRT. And what else is going on, man? Fucking Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee, they're jarring at each other back and forth again. Tony's like, oh, I'm gonna beat the piss out of you, and all this nonsense and all that shit. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna beat you so hard that you're gonna piss blood. And I'm like, yo, are you? They're just setting shit up. That shit is actually coming up in a few weeks. I'm pumped for that. They move DJ. They moved fucking Demetrius Johnson, Ray Borg to that card. So that's gonna be cool. Not really. It would be really dope. They can't do it now, but DJ should have fought TJ Dillashaw. because I mean, odds are TJ would have made that fight and made weight. You know what I mean? So because TJ is not a big guy, and like it would have been a rough cut most definitely, but I could see him making that weight, and I don't count DJ as breaking the record. You know what I mean? Like, because right, first of all, in reality, kind of John Jones broke it already, minus all that shit. But now with the steroids, you can't even count that. But I'm just the strength of schedule. I mean, maybe DJ did break it now because like if we're not really, if John Jones like legitimacy is in question, then that was really my like higher argument over DJ. I still stand by the pound for pound thing. I don't think he's pound for pound, but I'm definitely trying to see the McGregor Diaz trilogy. That's something I'm like. That's gonna make the most sense because I feel like that'll be the first pay-per-view in UFC history to go over 200 buys. You know what I mean? Ooh, I kicked McGregor. Now he's down on the floor. Um, yeah, that would definitely, especially with like Conor coming off of the Mayweather thing, his pay-per-view numbers are going to be super high. So the only thing that really makes sense for him is to do Nate because that was the two biggest UFC fights, and the trilogy after him coming off his stock being at an all-time high, and Nate is already this like Nate already became a superstar from beating Conor. So it's just going to be that's what they really should do. But I know they got the interim titles, but I mean, what can you do? They're already kind of breaking that rule with fucking Bisping and GSP, so might as well break it for Conor and Nate. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, this first half of the year was slow as shit. You know, there was really not that many great UFC cards, and like the real fucking great like blockbuster card was 214, and then like that shit got overshadowed because of steroids, and now like shit's turning out pretty good because we're getting the defense from Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. I'm looking forward to that fight. Oh, something I did want to talk about was when Dominic Cruz came on the UFC Unfiltered podcast, and then um, he was talking about a lot of stuff, but then he was talking about John Jones, and he was like, "Listen, if I was John Jones, I would just shut my mouth because you're under investigation." And I really think that's what John Jones is doing because he's not saying much because it'll get used against him. You know what I mean? I think you ought to cut him slack the first time because, like, when he came out on that press conference, he was saying, "Oh, I never did anything different. I don't know how this could have happened," and they could have been like, "Oh, we're taking your word for that, so we're not accepting this excuse." But this time, man, I don't know. I feel like I feel like the way it's going to play out is they're going to be like, "Oh, it was the tainted supplement again." They're going to find some, and they're going to be like, "Oh, we're cleared by USADA, but because of negligence." But the thing is, what if he gets like only a few months? Because who was it? Was it Tim Means? Or was he? Because I think John got the full year last time because he never told them he took that like off-brand pill shit. So the reason I think Yoel and Tim Means only got like 6 months was because they gave it as a listed supplement, the supplement they were taking, and then because they gave it as a listed supplement, and then USADA tested it, and then it had the shit in there, then they kind of I guess because they couldn't let them go without, like, just let them go scot-free, they gave them a few months. But since they actually said what they did, they got a reduced sentence. So if John Jones listed a supplement that he took, and then that comes up tainted, quote unquote, unquote, then he's going to get 6 months or maybe a year. But I don't think they could really drop the hammer on him because he gave it, because the reason they dropped that, like, not really dropped the hammer on him, they gave him a year suspension last time, was because it was a tainted supplement. I mean, he didn't give it, it was negligence. That's what they were saying. But if it's something that's not listed, if it's like another pill or some recreational shit that he didn't tell them about, I think they're going to hit him with the 2-year suspension. I don't know if they'll hit him with the 4-year suspension. And I don't know if you guys remember, before Crow Cop left Horizon, he got popped by USADA. And then when he got popped by USADA, they were saying, listen, if you snitch, if you tell us who's doing what, we'll let you, like, we'll cut you a good deal. We'll pretty much let you go. But he was like, nah, fuck that. I'm just gonna go to Ryzen. I'm gonna just juice openly, and then I'm gonna win the fucking, what's it called, the Ryzen Grand Prix tournament, which he did. He fucking knocked out. It was like old school tournaments where you have multiple fights in the weekend, and then he knocked out King Mo. And Crow Cop looked better than he ever did. Like, Crow Cop was looking like the Crow Cop in Pride at like 42. So it's definitely the juice, and it's kind of crazy because if you think about all the legends in Pride that were definitely juiced to the gills, when you look at Crow Cop, how fucking crazy he was in Pride, and how different he looked when he was in the UFC after like USADA and stuff, and then how great he looked in Ryzen. It's like, yo, how many people are looking like superheroes because they're doing like all this shit? And you know, it's like, it's fucking running rampant, or it was, and I guess that's why they called that's why GSP was like saying all the shit he was before. But a lot of people were saying GSP was on the shit. And when you look at a certain period in GSP's career, like, he was so jacked, it looked like he was on something. So if he's not on something, if he was never on something, then like he's just got like crazy genetics or something. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how he's looking when he comes back. And another thing is, because of the he kind of went out the way he went out with Hendricks. Hendricks is definitely like 100% juice into the motherfucking gills. But the way he went out looking against Hendricks, people are like, all right, what does he have left? You know what I mean? People thought he was like done then, but you know, it's just like, it's wild, man. Because if they hit John with the 4 years, which I don't know in what situation would make them hit him with the, oh, he's trying to choke me out, son. McGregor's trying to get his revenge the way he got choked out. Excuse me. Yeah, like if he totally doesn't comply with USADA, I think they'll hit him with the 4 years. But honestly, I feel like John's manager, Malky Kawa, they got a good understanding with each other, because he dealt with this with John before, he dealt with this with Yoel before, so it's kind of, Malky knows what he's doing when it comes to that shit. But oh yeah, they announced Rory MacDonald's gonna be fighting Douglas Lima for the welterweight strap in Bellator, so that should be a good fight. Douglas Lima is a beast. His last fight was against Lorenz Larkin. That was Lorenz Larkin's first fight in the UFC. And then Douglas Lima is Diego Lima's brother. Diego Lima was on the last season of Tough with Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. He was a semifinalist or a finalist, I don't remember. But yeah, he made it pretty far. He was in the UFC before too. Diego, I'm talking about. But Doug Lima is a beast, bro. He beat Koreshkov, and Koreshkov is the guy that made Benson Henderson look like a total fucking nerd. Like, Benson's first fight was against Koreshkov in Bellator, and he just made Benson look so bad. So that showed the legitimacy of that guy. And then that guy, Douglas Lima beat that guy. and then got the belt, and then beat Lorenz Larkin. And Lorenz was looking like a monster before he went over there, because he just beat Neil Magny in a crazy did he finish Neil, or did he get a decision? I can't remember. I think it was a dominant decision, but I really don't remember. And Neil's a high level guy, and yeah, Neil's a fucking high level dude, and Lorenz was looking really good. He was actually looking like he was going for a title run, and then the negotiations of Bellator, and then he went over to Bellator, and then he lost that. So Rory had a decent fight with Paul Daley, and Paul Daley, I think, yeah, Paul Daley is definitely a UFC caliber fighter. I think he'd still be like a top 10 guy in the UFC, but they kicked him out the UFC after he punched Koscheck after the bell. Yeah, if you guys didn't see that, go look that up, where Paul Daley punches Josh Koscheck after the bell, and Dan Miragliotta's like, Paul, are you friggin' kidding me? Like, holding him up against the fence. Are you friggin' kidding me, Paul? And yeah, so he would be in the UFC till this day if it wasn't for that. That's how I feel like. But I truly feel like, man, UFC is coming like Strike Force. Like, what was that fight, dude? I can't even remember. But I mean, Nick Diaz, Paul Daley in Strike Force. That was a good ass fight. If you never watched that fight, go look that fight up, because that was like, I'm pretty sure it was just one round. I can't remember right now. I'm pretty sure it was only one round, but that was a crazy ass first round. Or maybe it was two. I'm pretty sure it was one round, but I haven't watched that fight in a while. That was like the first time we really, I think like really the only time we saw Nick in a lot of trouble. But, you know, fucking McGregor hook kicking me and shit. Fuck you. That was the first time we really saw Nick in trouble, and he came back from that shit, and he fucked up Paul Daley. I don't know if you ever saw that clip. That's like where like in the ring afterwards, where he's fucking where he's like pushing, like the camera's on him, like after when they put the camera on you. So they put the camera on him, and he's pushing it to like Paul's body, just laying on the fucking canvas. So badass, dude. And there was this one strike. I can't remember who it was against, but there was this one fucking. Let me get the submission quick. Damn. There was this one fucking. Oh, fuck that. There was this one fight where Nick Diaz was fighting in Stockton, and like the Stockton arena, and he knocked the dude out, and then the whole crowd was going crazy. But like that feel of Strikeforce is definitely coming back with Bellator. I don't know. I didn't read the article. I saw some shit that Bellator is gonna have a flying cage. I don't know what that's about, but I'm intrigued, and that shit sounds very dope. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like a floating cage. I saw a picture of it, like a picture in the article. I didn't like click on it and see the extensive picture, but my guy, a motherfucking floating cage. I'm all about that. And I really feel like Bellator is really the only promotion that can get away with that. Because, like, alright, when you think about back to the Kimbo Dada days, not like, I'm talking about when they did like Kimbo Dada 5000, and Dada like almost died after that shit. And then they were doing like Hoist Gracie, Ken Shamrock 45. That Bellator was looking like, it was looking like the beggar. Like, where they just eating people's leftovers, like spoiled leftovers. But now, dude, the Reebok deal single-handedly is the cause of giving Bellator so much power. Because that's such, rocked him. I'm gonna finish him like how he did the first fight. Oh, come for the takedown, bitch. Come on, bitch. Or should I knock him out this time? Yeah, because if it wasn't for the Reebok deal, dude, when you really think about it, not many fighters were vying to go to a different promotion unless they really had beef because they can make their spawns money. But once they took that away, and then I mean, you know what's the fucked up thing though? Reebok gets a bad rap. They do fuck up a lot in their apparel, but Reebok paid a hefty sum of money to the UFC. It was Dana White and the Fertitta brothers and the UFC brass that kept the bulk of it. You know what I mean? And then they set up this whole pay structure. Reebok didn't set up this pay structure. The fucking UFC did. All right, Greg, I'm just gonna take your back and choke you out right now, son. Am I gonna get it in time? Nah. So yeah, they're the one that figured out this whole pay structure, and I think it was like, I don't know why or what, because I'm pretty sure the UFC was making profit for a while before they were selling it, and maybe it was like to legitimize it so they could get a higher rate for when they do sell it. But I mean, it's really, I don't know when the Reebok deal is expiring, but that would be smart to not renew it because Bellator, they're picking, it went from them picking up, all right, like mid-tier talent from all right, from absolute gone, used, washed up talent from the UFC to mid to top tier talent. Rory MacDonald is championship caliber. Gegard Mousasi is championship caliber. Um, Benson might be a little past his prime, but even when Benson went down and he fought um, Michael Chandler. It took him a few fights, but I didn't watch that fight, but I saw a few highlights from it. That Michael Chandler fight looked good, you know what I mean? So, you know, they got Benson was really the first um, one to go over there that set off this new wave of people going over there. But the real OG of like leaving UFC to go to Bellator was Phil Davis. And I forgot they got Ryan Bader too, who's the champion over there now. You know what I mean? Phil Davis was the champion, lost it to Bader, and you know they gave up top tier talent, man. They gave up, you know, people that could have been champions. And when you look at it, the light heavyweight division could use uh, a Phil Davis or a Ryan Bader badly at this point. You know what I mean? Because if we're being real about it, with like certain exceptions, with like a Gus and a Glover Teixeira, the light heavyweight division is kind of looking like Bellator's. Bellator might have a better light heavyweight division. That's not true. I'm talking crazy with that. But Bellator, you know, there's their top talent, i.e., Ryan Bader and Phil Davis. This division would not be in the shithole it is right now if they're still in the UFC. You see, and then that's going to be the exact problem because the UFC is like, all right, we don't really need you guys because you're not champion and we have all these we have our stars and our champs and our top contenders, but their ego is fucking them because look at Gegard, man. Gegard is definitely championship caliber, and then the fact that they let Gegard go, who was a top 5 guy. I mean, Whitaker was the champ. That really could have been Gegard Mousasi. So for them to let those people go, it's just hollowing out their division. You know what I mean? And it's starting to feel reminiscent of those Nick Diaz Strikeforce days. Because when Nick wasn't cool with the UFC, like when Nick didn't like the UFC, he was out, like to Elite XC, Strikeforce, and all that. And then Bellator, I mean, Scott Coker knows exactly what he's doing, and the fact that he's doing it again to just tear down everything and then build it from scratch. Not tear down, he sold Strikeforce, but to do that and then start over and build it from scratch, that's pretty wild. You know what I mean? But boom. But I mean, we need more stuff like that. We need more promotions that could compete with the UFC. Fucking A. Yeah, we need more promotions. Like, oh, what? I can't rear naked. How does Nate not have a rear naked choke from the back? That's fucking stupid. Um, I don't even. Yeah, I want to see Ryzen come up, or not Ryzen, but a Pride styled um, organization, because Pride, dude, Pride was actually number one for a while, for a little while. I mean, not number one, but they were. It was heavily debatable. You know what I mean? How many people bet the trilogy goes that way? Yo, if this is really how the trilogy goes, and Nate Diaz fucking just sleeps Conor McGregor, that shit would be crazy. Because then you have him as the champ and the biggest star. And I think McGregor getting laid out kills his stardom. Like, I mean, he might come back because he came back from getting submitted, but that's a submission, and McGregor has a good way of spinning his losses. I don't know how well you could spin getting slept. And dude, he owes Robert Byrd a percentage of his purse because Robert Byrd saved him from getting slept. You know what I mean? Um, because if Conor got slept by Floyd Mayweather, who was 149 and a half pounds on fight night, what did I do here? Yeah, that'd be crazy. His career would have suffered from that, but now he still has a star power. He's coming over. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, about McGregor getting knocked out. Yeah, man. That'll suck for the UFC. Not the UFC. McGregor is really carrying the UFC on his back, and I don't know who their next star is going to be, and if he's even in the UFC yet, because it might be a thing where your next like megastar is just going to come up um, in the next generation. You know, I mean, like a Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt is probably the guy to be the next breakout superstar. But the thing is, like, I really rock with No Love. I mean, you guys know that by now. I don't even have to say it. But he's not as eloquent as he can be to kind of get that. Because a big reason of McGregor's crossover was his personality and his delivery. You know what I mean? And Cody has a problem with that. Not a problem, but he doesn't sound too bright, and he comes off as a hothead a lot of times. I think he's just born and meant to fight. When you look at his performance against Cruz, and you look at the pre-fight build-up, it was like, he's because he was just looking like such a hothead. You're like, he really just might charge at him and then get slept. But Rock Dillashaw winging them hooks like Wanderlei. But when he came into the fight, he was so composed, so calm. And then he told Dom, he was like, I'm gonna make you pay for everything you said in fight night, like on fight night, which he did. And he looked calm, and he just put such a emphatic exclamation on it that just by day, like when he evaded all of Cruz's shots and he started pop locking, I was like, oh snap! Like, dude, like he looked like a champion, and he did it, and he was just like his showmanship, bro. Like the ring generalship he had that night, I like it was crazy, and I wonder how close of a fight it's gonna be because, all right, so this whole time Cody was saying that he knocked out TJ cold, he had him stretched, or that's what everyone was making it seem like. But when he was on the Rogan podcast, he was like, he made it. Oh shit. He kind of said it's more. It was more of a knockdown. You know what I mean? And and then even Joe was like, "Oh well, you didn't knock him out. It just sounds like you knocked him down." And Cody was like, "Yeah, yeah, but he was out of it. It was like the Dodson knockout. Like his legs were all wobbly and stuff." And if you guys never saw that, go look up T.J. Dillashaw, John Dodson. It was the Ultimate Fighter finale, and John Dodson's like rocked TJ. He dropped, and then when he was like coming with the follow up shots, the the ref stepped in and stopped it. So I mean, he was never like truly like flattened like how or it wasn't like knocked out like how Faber, Barrow, and shit like that. My bad. But I'm definitely looking forward to this fight a lot. And then the thing is, man, TJ has TJ has a good chance of winning this fight too. And then oh shit, that creates a whole triangle at 45. Oh no, 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 I'm not trying to get on my back. What the fuck? That creates a whole triangle at 45. And I don't know if TJ will be vindictive towards Cruz because Cruz never gave him a rematch. Because he said that, oh, if I win the belt, I'm going to make Cruz wait and fight the contenders. But, oh, I saw the other day fucking Cody was on his fucking shit, man. No, you're not taking my back. Alright, he took my back. Cody was on his Instagram story, and then, because Dom was calling the fights, and then, oh, shit, man. Give me a second. Let me get him. Oh, shit, son. Oh, what, dude? They don't have that get up option for Cody in that position? That's fucking stupid. Oh, such a bad position right now. Get up, Cody. Fuck! Alright, there we go. He was he was on his Instagram story, and then he fucking A, man. I'm trying to get this motherfucker off of me. Damn, that was a bad round for me. Damn, son, that wasn't good. Um, and then he zoomed in on Dom, and he was like, "Looking old, Dom, looking old," which I thought that was like a straight savage move. But the thing is, he's still talking shit, which means he's like really starting continuing the build up for his fight with Dom, which I think a rematch would go very differently, especially if Dom doesn't take another fight and he just waits to fight the winner of this. I feel like that fight's gonna be totally different because Dom fought that shit with. I'm not making excuses or anything, but – you could tell Dom didn't look like the same Dom. He fought that shit with. with fucking plantar fascia tendonitis and all that. So you could tell his movements weren't the same. The way he was doing stuff wasn't the same, and both his feet were taped up and all that. So he was, and another thing is Cody dictated the range the entire fight. And the times that Dom got really, really hurt was when he was in the pocket and when he was staying in the pocket too long, winging hooks. Because you can't just stay in the pocket like that and wing shots like that, not having your hands up, because you're gonna get clipped. That'll happen to anyone. And he let his emotions get the best of him. So I think a Dom that doesn't let Cody dictate the range and is a little more composed, I feel like that's a very, very different fight. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win the fight or he's going to lose the fight. I'm saying it won't be like that dominant of a performance on Cody's behalf. That's just my opinion on it. That's what I think. But I think after Cody and Dom, or yeah, let's say Cody wins and then it's Cody and Dom, they rematch. I think Jimmy Rivera should get the next title shot. But the thing is, like, Jimmy Rivera kind of struggled with Thomas Almeida, and then there's footage of Jimmy Rivera sparring with T.J. Dillashaw. Fucking shit, man. There's footage of him sparring with T.J. Dillashaw, and he was kind of getting worked a little bit. You know what I mean? T.J. Dillashaw was. I mean, Jimmy Rivera was clipping him up a lot in that sparring footage. Get up, Cody. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys could look that up too. Look up Jimmy Rivera sparring TJ Dillashaw. But I think that was like kind of closer to when TJ was off of like Ultimate Fighter and shit like that. So it wasn't the same TJ Dillashaw. Fucking A, man. TJ just keeps taking me down. I'm gonna knock his ass out. But I mean, like the way it's kind of fucked up because they were saying on the Rogan podcast, and they said this before. I think I talked about it before in a video, or maybe I didn't. Maybe it was like in the comment section somewhere. But fucking T.J. Dillashaw is the one who ended Chris Holdsworth's career. There we go. They said he need him when they were just like he need Chris Holdsworth in the back of the head when they were sparring. And I was like, yeah, that's fucked up. Because he was like, he choked TJ out or some shit. And I was like, that's fucked up. And TJ kind of does seem like the guy to do some shit like that. You know what I mean? And they said TJ hurts people in sparring. And I'm just going to submit this motherfucker because he wants to take me down. Like, you want to take me down that much, TJ? Fuck that. Here comes a guillotine. My guillotine. Drink promethazine. Taking beans. Go to those extremes. Fuck. I lost that. Guillotine. Got me talking like future out this bitch. Yeah, so even they were saying like when like normal, because you have the pros and then you have the just the people that could sign up for the gym and just join the gym and train. They said like when TJ was supposed to go into the gym and just like move around with those people, he'd legit be sparring like civilians and hurting them. And I mean, I get being competitive, but that's like a whole nother thing. That's on some straight bullshit. Um, hold up. Yeah, bro, and I don't know. That'd be a good fight. Jimmy Rivera struggled with Almeida though, who Cody just fucking wrecked. I would like to see. Maybe Jimmy should fight John Lineker. Jimmy Rivera, John Lineker. I don't think they've fought before. I'm not sure about that. I gotta look it up, but that'd be a good matchup. Cody Garbrandt was supposed to fight John Lineker early in his career. He was supposed to fight John Lineker, and then he pulled out. John Lineker did, and then Cody had to fight Augusto Mendez. And then I think after his Augusto Mendez was his Almeida fight, and then after Almeida it was Mizugaki, and then he got the title shot. But yeah, that was a good fight, Rivera Almeida. That was on the Weidman Gaslam card. That was a fun fight. Man, and Ferguson Lee, that should be a good fight. But the thing is, we don't know like how exactly how good Kevin Lee is. We know Ferguson's a beast. So, I mean, that should be a good fight. Well, I really do feel like Kevin Lee should have fought like Ally Kinta or something before. Like, I think Michael Chiesa was like the highest level guy before. Fucking shit.